Phil, on the software side, on the original Xbox, were there any game cancellations back then that you really wished had gotten seen released? I mean, you know, I always politely nudge you about, you know, there was True Fantasy Live Online and BC were the two biggies. But were there any games that never made it that you always had a soft spot for?
Well, I've told the story a few times about passing on the original Guitar Hero.
They're great.
So obviously that's a decision I regret, given what that turned into. There was a game called Citizen Zero.
Oh, yeah.
That was a first-person shooter MMO. And now with umpteen hundred hours into Destiny, you know, I look back and our box became defined by shooters early on, the success of Halo and Gears and Call of Duty and things. And it's a game that I think if we would have stuck with it, I'm trying to remember, it was developed in Australia. I don't even remember the name of the developer. Actually, my first day in Microsoft Studios, I had to cancel a game called Knights of Decaden with Larry Holland. You remember Larry Holland?
Larry?
Yeah. Oh. And it was just a game that wasn't working for either of us, so it wasn't like
Did it have a colon, though, with another thing?
It was just Knights of Decaden. It was 3D Joust, and don't build 3D Joust. It doesn't work. You can't, without lock on, you can't hit anybody. But yeah, Citizen Zero, free to play, or not free to play, we didn't know what free to play was, but a first person shooter MMO, TFLO would have been a good one. You know,
free to play right after you buy it.
Yeah, that's right. Mythica is a game that we canceled, which was an internal big MMO, which was ambitious on our part. We had done Asheron's Call, and we were looking at Mythica. That was actually a PC game, but I assume if we would have kept with it, we would have ended up on console. You know, in hindsight, what you do, I think, is you look back at models that worked, and you see your ideas that were kind of precursors to things that worked. And you know, even when I look at like Viva Pinata now, because I'm playing it with back compat, and Viva Pinata is very much a free-to-play game, and it was just wrapped inside of a $60.
If Viva Pinata had come out on iPad like 5 years later, it would have been like #1.
That's right.
Crazy.
But we had to fix killing the worms, because nobody wanted to name their worm and then feed your worm to the bird, right? That was the flaw in the game, was when my daughters would name their worms, and then you'd have to explain the circle of life, and that the worms needed to be sacrificed in order to attract the birds, and we should have had some other way of attracting the higher up. But yeah, you know, you can go back and you can look at ideas that now work, and smarter people than I am were able to take things over the finish line, and you kind of have to define, especially in the game business, you've got to define what you do.
Yeah.
Because there's 1,000 things you coulda, shoulda, woulda done.
Yeah. And especially as a gamer, like if you're actually a gamer and you get these pitches, and you're like all day, like, you know, for days, and you just want them all.
Yeah.
You just want to play them all. And you know, you love game developers and they're your friends and you want everybody to succeed, and it's total misery to have to decide. It's totally miserable because you just want to play everything. Like you were exactly right. There's no bad games. There are games that maybe aren't done or that have a problem or something, but like, you know, just getting to play a game and having it be your job, like nothing's better than that.
My PR guy today, he pitched me and he wants to do, he wants
don't out his idea, man.
No, Red Links. He wants trials with snowboarding. And I said, you know, that makes sense. Like, you can play snowboarding inside. That's a good idea. Maybe somebody...
Yeah, so guess 10 minutes from now, 5 of those will be released on Android.
We should go use our Amped IP. Remember Amped?
Amped.
We could load some SSX on top of that.
I'll tell you what I remember Dark Summit.
Yeah.
Launch game.
Yeah.